What's good, gang? It's your boy King here with a brand spanking new reaction video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. You can leave your forgetting my intro. You can leave your comments or reaction requests down below, because today we are gonna get into Death Battle, brand new Death Battle. It is Magneto from the Marvel universe, from Marvel Comics, versus Tetsuo from one of the most pivotal anime movies, Akira. Some of y'all, I know you probably haven't seen Akira. It's definitely worth the watch. It's definitely, for those who have seen it, majority consider it one of the most, inspirational movies that helped mold a lot of anime. But everybody has their opinions. It is what it is. But I know I love that movie. But today we're going to jump into this death battle. So as we get started, like I said, leave your thumbs up, comments or requests down below. Subscribe if you're new, and let's jump on in.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by HelloFresh and Bespoke Post. Magneto, Marvel's mutant master of magnetism.
Tetsuo Shima, Akira's telekinetic terror of Neo-Tokyo.
And a big-ass forehead.
These two masters of have ignited revolution, not just in their worlds, but also the very mediums they exist within.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. In the short duration of modern civilization, likely no conflict tested humanity more than the Second World War. In the primary Marvel 616 universe, this fact is no different, especially to the Eisenhart family and their only son.
You may know him as
Eric
Magnus,
Lynch.
Eric, or Max, but if you ask him, he'd say his true name is Magneto.
As a Jewish child in Nazi Germany, Magneto's early
Max,
life was,
Eisenhart, Eric
extremely
Lynch,
traumatic.
Even
Magnus.
after eventually escaping certain death with his future wife, misfortune always followed wherever he went.
Thanks to his unexpected mutation called the X gene, the mark of a superhuman. After settling down in Russia with his new family, the KGB quickly found out about this quirk.
Damn.
So they burned his house down with his own daughter inside.
Damn.
Naturally, he snapped and killed them all. I don't blame him. I'd do that too. Too bad his wife didn't get it and ditched him, though. But that's when Magneto made a choice. Since humans hurt him his entire life, he'd do the same to them in the name of mutants everywhere.
At first, Magneto turned to the telepathic powerhouse Charles Xavier and his fledgling team of heroes. But his new friend wasn't thrilled with the idea of, subjugating the human race. So, Magneto formed his own team of mutants, the Brotherhood.
Magneto can telekinetically
And she's
move,
Scarlet Witch
bend,
right
and
there.
reshape any metal he's aware of. Bullets, vehicles, buildings, you name it. Even himself when he manipulates his personal magnetic field for flight and energy barriers.
Magnetokinesis is far more versatile than it would appear at first glance. The blood in your body has iron in it. The air has traces of lead and mercury. Whole mountains are lined with metallic ore. The earth itself is
exactly, I was about to
surrounded
say,
by
the
a
earth
literal
itself.
magnetic field.
So many toys for Maggie to play with. He can detect magnetic fields at such a huge range. He can even pinpoint Earth's magnetic rays while stranded on a planet in another galaxy.
Damn.
And guess what? He was able to use those rays to pull himself back to Earth in a single day.
His
Damn.
range is even
I didn't
more
know that.
remarkable than that. Did you know that in 1820, physicist Hans Christian Ørsted discovered that electric currents, like those of electrons and protons and atoms, produce their own magnetic fields? Magneto can fine-tune his control to affect these very subatomic particles. Dummy here will illustrate such a particle, with positively charged protons and negative electrons.
Okay.
My life is as meaningless as an atom is small.
So what you're saying is Magneto could, like, yank one of those out.
Correct, potentially
crazy.
changing an atom's entire chemical makeup. However, neutrons do not have a charge, and without the ability to adjust those to accommodate the change in atomic mass, the atom would become unstable and
Boom.
do that. Magneto's violent protest against humankind clashed with Xavier's peaceful reconciliation, not unlike the ideologies taught by Malcolm X and Dr. King, by whom Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were inspired. Magneto would spend most of his
Which a lot of
career
people
pushing
don't
Xavier
fucking
away to
realize and
prove
don't
his
know that.
philosophy superior. which meant doing battle with Xavier's school of thought.
Two black men inspired X-Men.
Body's mind powers are no joke, but thanks to Magneto's psionic propelling helmet, Professor X couldn't touch him. Magneto survived Cyclops.
They inspired the idea for two of the greatest X-Men to exist.
Iron Man ripped the adamantium skeleton out of Wolverine's body,
I remember that.
and even taken on Hercules himself. You know, the Greek legend, Zero to Hero, the guy who held up the skies of Olympus for Atlas. That Hercules.
Seems sensible. Magneto once used the Earth's magnetic field to overwhelm the Phoenix Force, which can effortlessly destroy planets, let alone far more.
Hell, if he really wanted to, Magneto could totally just fling the Earth up its axis.
It's entirely possible
true.
he may have eventually resorted to just that. Over time, it became clear Magneto's war was doing far more harm than good for his fellow mutants, however well-intentioned he may have been at first.
Luckily, he later realized he was going a bit overboard and began reevaluating his perspective. Good for you, Mags. It's really tough to recognize when you're the baddie.
It took time and patience not just from Magneto, but also from his peers. Yet eventually, his path was completely changed. He even became a leader for Xavier's X-Men.
But don't let his new goody two-shoes ways fool you. Whenever there's a threat to mutants, you can
he's
bet
with it.
Magneto
He's with
will
the
be there
shits.
to annihilate it. Forever, by any means necessary.
Over 30 years ago, a new type of bomb was set off over Tokyo,
1988,
and
I
9
was
hours
2
later
years old.
began the Third World War.
Welcome to 2030, or 2019 if you're watching the anime. The buildings are taller, the motorcycles are cooler, and the future is brighter. Oh, wait, not really. If you find yourself in the Capsule Gang, you'll meet Shotaro Kaneda, who's like your textbook anime chef. Gets the ladies, beats the baddies, and cops the sweetest rigs. Man, I need
Bro,
to
his
get one of
motorcycle is
those.
dope,
And
yeah.
then there's the little brother of the group, Kaneda's best friend, Tetsuo Shima. He's, well,
The exact opposite. A total wimp. As a
Fucked
kid, Tetsuo and his college thesis forehead got bullied for being
College
the new kid at the
thesis
orphanage.
forehead.
That's until Big Bro Kaneda came to the rescue.
eventually the two went to vocational school together and formed the Capsules. But Tetsuo was never satisfied with Kaneda being the leader of the pack. Tetsuo desired more than anything to be top dog.
Oh, I can just see that monkey's paw curling in my mind. Or
Yeah.
that kid walking down the street. Shit, Tetsuo, watch out! That definitely should have killed him. But since it didn't, Tetsuo earned himself a ticket to military confinement. Turns out they had an under-the-table program for developing child superweapons.
In the same program that backfired and jump-started the war, Tetsuo became Japan's Esper number 41.
He may not have been a natural with bikes, baddies, or babes, but this telekinesis stuff hit different. He walked out of that hospital word effortlessly.
Splattered they
flying,
tomato
freeing
sauce
minds,
all
and
over that
blending
hallway.
people into strawberry jelly. Tetsuo got what he wanted. Power, along with the hunger for more of it.
A hunger that used to only be satiated with drugs. And not just any gateway drug, pills so potent that a single gram of the stuff could kill you.
Damn.
So, pretty bad. Kinda reminds me of college days, huh? Snow Wizard.
Snow
Tetsuo's
Wizard.
ability is his constantly increasing psionic energy, growing more and more powerful over time. This is due to Tetsuo's link to, quote, the memories of the universe, end quote. It's weird.
Either way, Tetsuo leveled up from lame gangbuster to certified badass. This guy is a walking natural disaster.
Damn.
His
Yeah, this man was
telekinesis can
tearing
shake
shit
a
apart,
planet,
bro.
easily cause earthquakes over a dozen miles below the surface. He can summon psychic barriers for defense and crush foes with friggin' gravity wells. He can dart around as a literal bolt of lightning, or even teleport in an instant.
Oh,
Tetsuo's
shit.
telekinesis can be so
So I know the
precise,
anime. I
it
haven't
can
read
obliterate
the
a
manga
single
at
part
all,
of the
so I
body.
didn't know he could do
can
a lot
heal
of
severe
this.
wounds quickly, but even after losing a whole limb, he can craft a new one using whatever nearby materials he wants.
With these powers, Top Dog Kaneda
That's gonna be a
didn't
weak
matter
point
anymore. Who
for
needed
him
his
versus
approval?
Magneto.
Tetsuo tasted that good shit and he was hooked. And when he found out another Esper named Akira could deal him even more power, he rampaged through Tokyo to find him.
And this is where versions of the story differ.
Spoilers ahoy!
You may be familiar with the 1988 animation, where Akira had been dissected for research. However, in the original manga, Akira is not only alive, but even more powerful.
Once that little rig nuked Tokyo, Tetsuo would have wrecked the great Tokyo Empire with Akira and himself as its leaders. But he ended up just abusing the position for endless sex and inflating his ego.
With Kanada's rebellion at his front door, Tetsuo took a turn for the worse. He had to fight.
Tetsuo's defeated other powerful espers, dodged light-speed lasers, and jumped to the moon faster than anyone could blink. And then punched a big old hole in it. And then you ask, Boomerstick, wouldn't that mess up gravity on Earth? You would be right, because
so it's it. So what are we saying? Tetsuo versus One Punch Man?
Which brings us to Tetsuo's folly. His abuse of his powers spiraled until he lost control. Unfortunately for Kanada's rebellion, this did not make Tetsuo an easier enemy to confront. Exactly opposite, in fact, as Tetsuo painfully mutated into an unstoppable behemoth.
Yep, that's not totally disturbing at all.
I'm happy to say
That reminds me of the baby
version is
on
even
fucking
more
Resident
disturbing.
Evil Village.
I mean, I know babies can be monsters, but that's a whole nother level.
Baby
Which is
monster.
pain incarnate. I can relate. Another Esper described Tetsuo's struggle as ego death, which has multiple definitions, but in this case is likely symbolic of the version attributed to drug use.
It's described as a shedding of one's own identity, like how LSD can emulate a wild out-of-body experience, and you come back with a new perspective. Though this is maybe a little more extreme. In fact, you could say Tetsuo was shedding his human body to play with the powers of a god.
I wish I could shed out of my body, but in this case, Tetsuo going full out of body meant becoming a mound of raw, ever-expanding energy.
Which almost nuked Tokyo all over again. And those explosions are not normal.
Jesus.
I would know.
Top scientists in both the manga and animated versions describe these explosions as births of a new universe.
Given its properties of nuclear fusion and proton collapse, Tetsuo's mutated form was likely creating a Big Bang.
You know, the thing that started
gotcha.
our whole universe?
Right, in the manga, it instead ended the Espers and their abilities once and for all. A testament that humankind is unsuited to wield the powers of the divine.
Though the anime is even more trippy. Thanks to Akira and his buddies, Tetsuo got so high on ego death, he ascended time-space to become god of a new universe. Kinda worth it, right?
And yet, Kanada kept his empire up in his honor, now as the Great Akira Empire. Ironically, in death, Tetsuo finally received the attention
That he deserves.
desperately
That's
craved.
crazy. I don't know. I want to pick Magneto, but I don't know. I done found out some abilities for Tetsuo that I didn't even know he had.
Recognize our superiority.
Wrong country, Grandpa. You're an Akira turf now.
Okay. Starting off big.
Dead meat. The hell are you calling child? I make the rules around here.
I think with Tetsuo being able to use shit around him to make new body parts is going to be his downfall. Oh, okay. Send it back. Oh, what did I say? Here we go.
For the master of magnetism.
Oh,
Your history, scumbag.
now he's physically putting hands on him. Well, actually putting hands on him. Some tells me, I don't know, I'm having a... Oh my God.
Believe I've had enough tantrums to last a lifetime.
Oh. I don't even know at this point. It's a still just no matter what kind of media, it's still disgusting. He took the iron out of the blood. Oh shit. Okay. Just blew up.
Poor child.
How did he get out of there? Wasn't a bad fight. Wasn't a bad fight at all.
I'm never doing that again.
Tetsuo's esoteric telekinesis and other bizarre abilities certainly gave Magneto pause, but the master of magnetism had greater control over his foe.
The numbers don't lie. Tetsuo cratering the moon was insane, but Magneto punched Iron Man with the force of the sun.
God
and while
damn.
Tetsuo jumped all the way to the moon, Magneto could move across galaxies.
Against Tetsuo in his human form, Magneto obviously held a sizable advantage in power and speed.
But stats aren't all that matters. With his precise telekinesis, Tetsuo could just target Magneto's organs. GG, right?
Yes, but Magneto had similar skills. There are very few substances on Earth that lack any metallic or magnetic component, and Magneto is very creative with his powers.
Which he could use to predict Tetsuo's teleportation and even shut down his telekinesis. And
Okay.
his scraps with Xavier prove he can handle Tetsuo's messing with his head. The biggest challenge for Magneto was when Tetsuo's gross mutated power came into play.
Exactly.
Especially
And when he went,
how the
when he
detonations
about to
from this
blow
form
up.
were compared to that of a Big Bang. Although the authenticity of that observation is questionable. In truth, the Big Bang was a sudden expansion of matter on a universal scale, whereas Tetsuo's explosions are more akin to nuclear blasts, clearly intentional given the post-war symbolism of the Akira story.
The whole creating an alternate universe bit wasn't even part of the original material, so we can't exactly call it canon.
But let's just say the comparison wasn't superfluous. Let's say Tetsuo did in fact cause a Big Bang capable of creating or destroying an entire universe, alternate or otherwise.
Okay.
Turns out Magneto had the tools to stop that too. Helmet Head could overpower Hercules, who was strong enough to hold up the skies of Olympus, which is literally heaven and an alternate universe.
This doesn't necessarily mean Magneto could easily destroy a universe with the snap of his fingers, but it does prove he can match a similar level of power. And context is everything. Tetsuo's Big Bang eruption specifically exhibited proton collapse, meaning its atomic structure was primarily an unstable mess of neutrons and electrons.
Okay.
And Magneto has detected and commanded unstable electrons before. This means Magneto had everything
That's what I'm saying, and
available to
he
take
is
control over this
crushing
Big
that
Bang.
shit.
Damn, and I thought he could just move some metal around. It's like the question posed by some of the greatest prophets of our time. Fucking magnets. How do they even work?
Magneto's astonishing power and intelligent control over all things magnetism triumphed in the end.
Tetsuo pushed his luck, but didn't have the metal to pull off the win.
The winner is Magneto.
Alright. That was actually a pretty good fight. I really had no clear-cut choice in who I thought was going to win.
Support the whole Death Battle team. Click
But
that join button and
I'm not
consider
disappointed
becoming
in
a
the
member.
battle
We'd
itself.
really appreciate it. Hope you like the next one.
Who's next? The hell? Hercules versus Sun Wukong? Wow. See how that works out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It really does mean a lot. I love the continued support. I love each and every one of you. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for your boy, and I will see each and every one of you in the next one. Peace.